The completed forms can be handed in at the school or mailed to the address. I do have the forms here for persons to become members of the society, and as I said, it's open to everyone, especially the parents. At one of the meetings when students came to get their enrollments, we tried to encourage parents to join. At one point we said, to make it mandatory so that their parents of the students join, but we couldn't do that. So we encourage parents as well as students to become members of the society. A lot of people think that the society is an old fuddy-duddy group. However, we're not. We do put on various functions. This summer we had a jazz concert, and it was very well attended. We hope to make that an annual event. We also just recently had alumni netball and softball and football games. It wasn't as profitable as we had hoped. However, we also intend to make that an annual event. We also had T-shirts done up, and the T-shirts are still for sale for the alumni. It was the same day as the Founders Day ceremony. So we encourage, whenever you hear of these things, to come out. Mr. Michael Swan is in attendance now, so I'll have him come up and talk about the roles and the responsibilities of the members of the executive committee. Come on.
Wow.
Okay, this is Mr. Michael Swan, the vice chairperson of the society, so you can get the duties of the officers. Catch your breath.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to catch my breath. I used to run track, but I don't want to shake Okay, my apologies for being late. My name is Michael Swan. I'm the vice chairman of the Berkeley Education Society. Been a member of the society since 1997. That was at the Berkeley 100-year anniversary when I moved back to Bermuda. Excuse me. I've been chairman, or deputy chairman, for 4 years now, and been working on a lot of activities. We had the Berkeley Summer Jazz Jam, which was a big success. And when I came in, I heard Ms. Bridgewater talk about the green and gold alumni football match. I think that was very important to bring alumni back, bring back some school spirit to Berkeley. And we have a lot of distinguished alumni at Berkeley, and we want to bring that spirit back, some fundraisers, and also reflect on some of you went to Berkeley, on your past days at Berkeley. So we had a netball game and a football game, which was visual talking about. I'll talk briefly about the duties of the officers for the society. The chairman is Mr. Sinclair White. Unfortunately, he's not here, so I am stepping in his place. He presides mostly over the regular and special meetings, and we appoint all the committees. We have several committees that we have the finance committee. We have a fundraising committee, and a little bit more. Yes, sir. Oh, sure. We have the membership committee as well, the careers, bursaries, and scholarships, the legacy program, the finance and public relations. I guess I will mention these folks' names who are on these committees. For the careers and bursary scholarships, we have Dr. Gloria Frederick, Ms. Martha Bridgewater, Lavette Bringman, Edward Dyer, Charles Jeffers, Cindy Weeks. The Legacy Program is more of a fundraising program. We have Mr. Delina Smith, she's the chairman. Doreen Aubrey, Margaret Bridgewater, Jennifer Evans, Steve Smith, and finance, we have Ms. Margaret Bridgewater and Sinclair White. We're looking for someone to help with the finance committee. We only have 2 persons, but we would like to see people who are members of the society come and join the society and sit on one of these committees. The public relations, we have Dr. Michael Bradshaw, Edgar Dyer, Dr. Gloria Frederick, and also Cindy Weeks. So that's pretty much the society. I will go over again. I'll just talk a little bit about the duties. You talked about the chairman. I am the vice chairman. In the absence of the chairman, I step in at the last minute. But I'm just going to talk a bit about myself and joining the society. Before I was hesitant. I'm a graduate of 1978. But seeing the work that's being done by the society and the stuff that it's doing for the school, and plus my mother sort of kicked me into it, there's a lot of work to be done for the school. And we have a lot of enthusiastic people who work on the society. And there's still a lot of work to be done, and also we'd like to increase the membership. The secretary, she pretty much writes the minutes, responsible for the minutes, and also she has the treasurer's duties as well. And right now we are missing a treasurer. We'd like to have someone who would like to join the society and become a treasurer.
I just want to say we have someone in mind, so we just hope that she comes on board. She's expressed an interest, and going forward we'll get her to handle treasury duties and relieve myself.
Also, we have a curator and historian. Pretty much the preservation of the history of the Berkeley. That's really important. One thing I like to mention, we had the Berkeley film. Some of you are aware of, some of you are not aware of, but it should be out in 2016. And it documents the history of the Berkeley. A very important documentation of the history of the Berkeley, but also education of the youth. So it's very important. And we talk about the governors?
No.
Okay. And we have Mr. Craig Bridgewater, who will be attending. He is the chairman of the Berkeley Board of Governors.
The room downstairs, as you come in, is the history room. That is supposed to be under the society. We have space in the back there. If anybody has any information that they deem of interest to the school, it could be given to Ms. Doreen Aubrey, and she's to set it up in the history room downstairs. As you can see, we do have photos of the various chairpersons of the society and the boards are down there. And as I mentioned, we have the forms for persons to join the society, and we encourage everyone who is connected with the Berkeley, whether you have students here now, whether you're a past student, to join the society. We have our AGM. I also have a flyer on that coming up in January. We have AGM every year, so it's usually around the 3rd Monday in the month, and I think it's January 19th coming up. So we are 2016, so we encourage persons to come to the meeting as well, and that's where we elect after that the persons to be on the executive committee of the society and also the board members.
Yeah, just a quick question. Are current students permitted to join the Berkeley Education
Anyone,
Society?
yes. Anybody with connections can join.
Okay.
We, as I mentioned before, we we talked, I shouldn't say we tried, but we talked about having students when they came into the school to become members of the society and just pay them $35 to join. However, that didn't really pan out, and even trying to encourage the parents to join when their students start the school. We just encourage persons to become members of the society. Any other questions? Okay, we'd like to thank you for having us to talk about the society. And as I said, I know a lot of people don't know about the society and our roles and responsibilities with regard to the school.
I'd just like to say one thing. I know some folks are aware of the society. I want to thank, I know I'm going to call some people who helped with the alumni game, Mr. Bartram, Kenneth Bartram. He joined the society. He was instrumental in getting players, alumni players, for the football match. So we have a lot of people who have a lot of interest, but it's important that we try to get everyone, all alumni, to join the society.
And even with the Alumni Association, there was an Alumni Association. However, it's been hard to get somebody to take that over and run with it and, bring it back. But hopefully, 2016, we'll have the Alumni Association back up and running as well.
Question. How many members are in the society?
It's about 300-400 people.
Do you have desired numbers?
Pardon?
Do you have any desired numbers?
No, we just encourage anybody who has any connection with the Berkeley Institute. Even though a lot of those people have joined, they're not really involved, with the society. But as I said, we do have an executive committee who handles the day-to-day functions of the society. But a lot of people are members. Some come out to the AGMs. A lot of people who come to the functions that we put on.
And outside of this evening, where can people get information to register or become members?
I have the forms here.
Outside of this evening, they can reach out.
But you can contact the office and they will get you the forms. But when we do have functions, we send an email out to those persons to let them know what is happening. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
So if we could have another round of applause for Mrs. Howard. One of the things that the PTSA can offer is that if these applications and notice of AGM can be electronically submitted to us, we can distribute it and we can post it on our Facebook page, et cetera, and make sure that a lot more parents are made aware of the Educational Society so they have the option to actually join and participate. It's just another way for you to support your children's school and possibly your alumni. At this time, I believe I saw Mr. Craig Bridgewater come into the room. If we could welcome him to the front as Chair of the Board of Governors.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I have a small presentation. I think a picture says 1,000 words, so I have a few pictures to show you. Thanks very much to the PTSA for inviting me. I think you beat me to the punch. I wanted to come by and say, just to come and speak to the PTSA and let you know what the board's up to anyway, and just make sure, but hopefully we have your support in everything that we do from a board level. But the PTSA reached out to me first and invited me, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much. What I plan to do is, I understand I was meant to come along and just talk about the functions of the board, talk a bit about what we've been up to recently, and more importantly, how you as parents, a key stakeholder, can support us and the school. After that, I'm happy to take any questions, as long as they're easy questions. Any hard questions, I have to go to the center. But to give you some background, so I would think that the society talked about the history And you probably heard about the history of the Berkeley Institute. In the 1979 amendment to the Berkeley Institute Act, they brought about the powers for the society to elect the Board of Governors to serve the school on a regular basis. So currently, there are 9 positions on the board. There's an AGM every January, which I heard Mr. Richard allude to, that takes place at the end of January. And at that point, there's a slate of people that are put forward for election, and the election takes place, and there's 9 spots on the board. The board is actually charged with the day-to-day, or overseeing, I should say, the day-to-day operations of the school. And what that means is that we have to make sure that we look at policy around education and programming. That's number 1, of course, that's why we're here. But also, in order to do that, we have to look at HR needs, to make sure that we have the right teachers and the right staff in order to deliver that education. We have to make sure that we have a building in order to deliver that education in. So this building that you see now, we have entered into an agreement. It's not our building. Our building is across the street. Actually, it's owned by the society. Across the street, that's this Berkeley property. This property actually belongs to the Berkeley government, so they built that. And I know you always hear the controversy around the Berkeley Institute. For a long time, they never called it the Berkeley Institute. They called it the Second Senior School until we were able to come to an agreement that we will actually take our name and put it up and call it the Berkeley Institute. So we actually operate this school under a license agreement that is renewable or that's kind of confirmed every 5 years. So we have to make sure that we're doing what we have to do, delivering curriculum and making it delivered at a satisfactory level to the Ministry of Education, and then they renew our license on a rolling 5-year basis. So we are accountable to the Ministry of Education to make sure that we deliver, and this is key, the minimum criteria that is necessary. It's BT. So we have to deliver the minimum criteria, the minimum education criteria that's put out by the Ministry of Education. We, as a board, always reserve the right to do things over and above that, which I'll kind of get into later on, which is very, very important. That's kind of a key foundation of the history of the Berkeley Institute. So again, this building is owned by the by government. We have to go into a license agreement and a rental agreement to take care of this building. But for the most part, we're responsible for, again, the day-to-day maintenance of it, day-to-day operations of it, and making sure that it's in safe, secure, operating condition, so your students can actually come on and quality education. So those are our main responsibilities: HR, buildings, education, and programming. And then we also have some big other things that we're doing ourselves, like from a fundraising perspective, etc. And we organize ourselves around that, which I'll show you in a bit. So what we have up on the screen here is just showing a bit of the organizational structure and how we're accountable. So as you heard, the Berkeley Education Society, those were the original founding fathers of the Berkeley Education Society came together to create a school. We are accountable to them. So that's my boss. So the other lady that's named Mrs. Bridgewater, she happens to be my mom. It's also my boss. So again, we get elected by them every January. So under the Berkeley Act, 1933, and then the Amendment 1979, for our aided school, which basically means that we contribute kind of capital to the delivery of education, and the ministry would basically give us funds to operate the school, so our aided school, and we have our own board. There are 4 aided schools on the island. So we've got Berkeley, you have Whitney Institute, you have St. George's Preparatory, and you have St. Secondary. So each of those schools have their own boards. St. George's Preparatory and St. Secondary. The last one. So those all have their own board, and again, they have similar powers to what we have in regards to. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a dotted line. The board is a dotted line to Ministry of Education, and we're accountable to the delivery of the minimum standards of education. And they check up on us to make sure that we're doing it. That's going to be a relationship that we have to manage on a regular basis. So here is the 9 members of the Board of Governors who were elected back in January of 2015. So the 1-year term is coming to an end in a couple of weeks. So I'm sure they worked hard to campaign to the vote so they get that again. But at the end of January, everyone will be elected back again as we go. Sherry Ritter, Sean Tucker, Anna Rita Ward, Marion, Michael Swan, Scott Pierman, Laura Latterberry, Rhonda Wood-Smith, one of my little teachers, and Gary Phillips, the secretary. And each of these individuals kind of bring a different skill set to the group. So it's all very important that we have different skill sets to allow us to manage what we have to do. So we have kind of PR, we have legal, we have accounting, etc. And then this is kind of how we're structured as far as the main board, and then we have subcommittees. So these subcommittees are really designed to make sure that we take care of those key responsibilities that I talked about earlier. So we have executive committee, we have finance and audit, so making sure from an accounting perspective we are taking care of our finances. We get a capitation grant from the government on an annual basis to the financial secretary. It's not nearly enough to operate this field. But they're responsible for managing that capitation grant, and also subject to audit on an annual basis by the Office of the Audit as well. Human Resources and Professional Development, so that's the chair of that subcommittee is Colonel Lamb. Education and Program Excellence, again, one of the key functions of the Board of Governors. So that's led by Scott Pierman, and then assisted by Mrs. Wood-Smith as a former teacher, and Swara Latterberg is also a parent of a student. Properties and facilities, and then fundraising. So that's kind of how we structure it. So again, I want to talk to you about things, ways in which you can actually help us to help you to deliver a key and quality education to your students. But before I do that, are there any questions on background or structure so far? Okay. One of the big things, and you heard about it from me, you heard about it from the principal, you heard about it in the press, that's very important and very part of our education and program excellence committee is delivering that piece that I talked about. So we reserve the right to deliver education programs that is over and above what the ministry asks us to do. And very proud of what we recently announced in regards to advanced programming courses and also the dual enrollment program in the particular college. So that's key for many reasons, and hopefully we will encourage the students to actually take advantage of these programs. The minimum that we have to do that's kind of given to us by the Ministry of Education is to acquire IGCSEs in core subjects, math, English, and science, and then also to enter into and be successful in various courses and curriculum that the Ministry of Education has developed. So that's very important, and that also provides a core to the education that the students will receive. But at Berkeley, we've long held the belief that you need to have academic qualifications that are recognized, not just in Bermuda, but recognized internationally by universities, overseas employers, local employers, et cetera, so that our students have the best opportunities to be where they can be after they leave the Berkeley Institute. So, no disrespect, but you can have a Bermuda Secondary School certificate, but unless that is recognized or met, and people understand what it means in other jurisdictions, then it's difficult to kind of convince others of what that means. Not saying that it can't be done, because we've had a lot of students leave Bermuda with the BSc and be successful in very good universities. But when you're in a competitive situation, you want to give them something to recognize to minimize any friction in the application process. So we don't believe that this is important to have qualifications that everybody understands. So when we recruited Dr. Phyllis Curtis-Tweed, one of the things that we really wanted to do was make sure that we addressed the education and programming for our senior students at S3s, S4s. The IGCSEs takes you theoretically to S2. That's when your students will have to be expected to write IGCSEs. So we make sure that our S3s and S4s will also continue to be challenged. And they had something they were working towards in that last 2 years to graduate, and that will take them to the next level they can go to after we leave the Berkeley Institute. So what we did, we went through a lot of work. We looked at IB, we looked at A levels, we looked at AS levels, we looked at AP. And that committee did a lot of work in doing research, supported by the principal and administration. Did a lot of work researching kind of what makes sense. So all those are very well recognized programs. But what makes sense from a Berkeley Institute and the programming that our students have already received. And the conclusion was that AP as well as AP primarily, was the advanced programming that made sense for us to implement at our institute. So our IB, I don't know if anybody's familiar with IB, but IB is very intense programming. Programming actually starts from a young age to get those students to where they need to be. AP program is something that we can actually supplement onto our senior program quite easily. I say easily, but I don't know what it means, but easily in regards to delivering the curriculum and getting everybody to like that. And it's modular where students can actually choose what subjects they want and what subjects they want to write, they want to write, etc. So it's a lot more friendly. And then we do an enrollment program, which the Bermuda College has basically opened up to our students, which is great. And it really kind of provides that synergy from kind of primary straight to college that everybody's looking for as a nation. They open up to our students to allow students to get college credits. So we're going to have a handful of students that are going to leave the Berkeley Institute this year and going forward, who will leave with a high school diploma and an associate's degree. So then before they even leave here, they're already kind of ahead. They're ready to go get advanced placement in colleges and universities. That's an awesome result. So it's good for them. It places them, probably saves you guys a few dollars when it comes to tuition and you get there. So it's an awesome result all around. It's something that's recognized by everybody. But I think that's a very good result, and hopefully, again, people take notice of that. Our responsibility is to make sure that our community understands what that means. And I'll charge myself, if I'm accountable for it, is kind of getting the word out, going and talking to some of our companies within our island, within the jurisdiction, IED companies, etc., to make sure they understand when they see Berkeley Institute honors or advanced honors certificate, that they know what that means, that these guys have gone the extra mile and have actually achieved and what that means. So no longer do we need to hear that we're not kind of delivering a quality education to our students. No longer do we need to hear that we're not delivering or getting our students ready to take on real world experiences, because once they show that piece of paper, that's what it should be. So go back to your own kind of corners of the world, corners of the reader, and just tell that message that, you know, this is what Berkeley is doing, this is what it means when you get really doing this. And we're going to have a bit of a transition, because you know that we introduced it recently, and there's some students that are already advanced. There's going to be some transition provisions in there with regards to the number of GCSEs that you can get online and all that, and they'll be continuously communicated to everybody so they understand what it means. Any questions on that so far? The last two is the comprehensive facilities committee, again, making sure that this building is up to scratch. That's continuous. This building is technologically advanced. It's got advanced AV systems, etc. So it's a continuous project to make sure that we manage that and make sure that this building is safe and secure for students. And then lastly, fundraising. So the idea around fundraising is, as I just mentioned to you, the FS, so I'm sure you take it back to the office. The monies that we do get kind of just us, it is a challenge, and we realize what work really is in its economic cycle. So there's a challenge with the funds that we do get. So obviously what we need to do is actually kind of take some of these matters into our learning. So if we want to offer these advanced programs and things that are over and above what the ministry says we need to do, then we need to try and find a way to fund that. And that's where our fundraising comes in. So this is kind of in its infancy stage, and hopefully you'll be hearing more about that. But the idea is to not kind of go out and ask for small dollars, so ask for $10 or not doing big sales and stuff. But this is kind of real. We want to make kind of build up a nice war chest for ourselves where we can actually fund advanced programs as we go forward. So that's led by Mrs. Rhonda Wood-Smith, who with her committee is developing opportunities for us to kind of go out to our stakeholders and our alumni, our parents, our community stakeholders, to kind of get them to give a commitment to Berkeley and get them to give a commitment to quality public education for our students. So we can give our students real opportunities to compete locally and internationally as we go forward. So hopefully, when you do get a poll, you're willing to actually be supportive of those initiatives. And I think that will continue to grow Berkeley in the high esteem and the high level of achievement in this situation we're going for. That's it. Any questions, thoughts?
Yeah, just a small question on property facilities.
It's going to be easy.
Yeah, my question to you. I don't know what the building is fairly new. What is the repair and maintenance per annum?
The current maintenance.
Off the top of your head, if you do that. I don't want to put you in a precarious position.
Well, there's the desired repairs and maintenance plan, and there's what we do on a regular basis. So I'm not, actually, I'm not under the number, but the things that we focus on a regular basis is making sure that what we call the envelope to the outside is properly maintained.
Structure.
Yeah, so make sure that we don't have leaks, make sure that it's properly painted, make sure it's presentable. Those are things that we focus on a regular basis. We do spend a lot of time on the mechanical equipment around to make sure that it's up to scratch. If you notice, we can open windows and the AC goes down, and when trouble gets kind of warm, probably feel it going down. But you have to turn it off early to make sure you see that. So it's more kind of making sure that the building is safe and secure, so we're doing the minimum things on a regular basis. If we had more money, we would do more stuff like maintaining the roof and looking at alternative ways to get energy, so solar or wind, kind of experiment with those types of things. But I don't have a number for offhand. That's what it was. Our regular operating costs are quite significant. We incur sizable electricity bills on a regular basis. And then we have security and we have other things that help to manage. So I think the minimum cost to kind of open the building is, so electricity is about $100,000 a month. So that's 1.2. That's just electricity. And we probably have miscellaneous costs. I think just to kind of, the minimum operations are around 2.4.
And my follow-up question to you is, yes, a lot of changes over in terms of the electricity. You gave a trillion years of being on the hill for the property they had. Okay.
Yeah.
What about solar panels? Is that something that the community is actually looking at in the future to cut costs in electricity?
Yeah, so we'll like to. So there's two challenges that we have to solve. We got to find somewhere to put them. And number two, there's upfront costs. So we've had many presentations over the years. We got to find a way that we can actually finance it. So if somebody comes and says, we put them in, we pay for a little time, we get a return. So we're going to continue to look at alternative ways. And in my mind, thinking of it as an educational opportunity. It's not just kind of coming and sticking with it. One time we experimented with a wind turbine. That didn't work out. We didn't believe that. But again, I think that's an educational opportunity. That's our students can actually work with.
I have a question about programs. First question is, what is the percentage of students who go to college in the U.S.?
Well, but my understanding is that whether or not they actually go is going to come in the beginning of the year. I think it's about 70% go.
But the kids who fly to college in the U.S. versus the U.K. are pretty split.
To the U.S., they apply more to the U.S. than Canada.
So my next question then is, if that's the case, I'm wondering if there's an opportunity in school as opposed to outside school for SATs, because IGCSEs, I understand are required for graduating, but also for the schools to use tests. Being Americans, I have never in my life heard of IGCSEs, and it continues to be total confusion for me. One of my sons wants to go to the U.S., is intending to go to the U.S. So he's going to take the SAT, but the IGCSEs, they're great for the purpose. But is there a way that in the school program that the SAT prep can also be included? Because honestly, in the U.S.,
Actually, we started, we have an entry class.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it started this year, so I guess over time it'll grow and become more. And then the APs are recognized in the U.S. as well.
the APs, yes, that's my son this year. But also, having said that, also the college application process, I know that there's college fairs and there's, a few other things, but there doesn't seem to be like a program that is very specific, okay, you're writing your college application. I know that there are lots of things, because policy is a lot of things, but I think my concern is that a lot of my friends in the U.S. are getting acceptance letters now, and they haven't yet applied for it. So therefore, if there's early acceptance, or if there's a rolling acceptance,
A lot of colleges have fall deadlines for early admission, and then we have spring deadlines, January-ish, for regular admission. So a lot of our students tend to do the regular admission.
Coming in there with the right dress properly, right posture, and everything, investing in people that you're talking to, and then even when you start talking, just making sure you're presenting yourself. All those things, and I see a difference. And I think, we need to try and address that.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jordan. We actually have Mr. Branches here who can share some of what we're doing currently or what we do have available, if that could assist you in thought as well.
She put you on the spot.
I did. Always ready.
Good evening, everyone. I didn't hear the entire question, but we do have college application workshops every Monday for all students. We also have mock interviews that go on throughout the year to prepare students for a scholarship application. We have scholarship workshop that students are required to attend. So there are a number of things. I think I heard you asking about the SAT as well. There's an SAT prep course that is basically built into the curriculum that our S4 students and some of our S3 students take as well. So yeah, there are a number of things going on.
I appreciate that. I mean, I know that there are, because my son is actually doing them, but I was just sort of wondering, maybe earlier, like, S3 and just at home, like not a suggestion to them, but maybe a mandatory.
Required, okay.
Yeah, requirements.
Yeah.
It's a good question. So we're doing, but we can take all these suggestions here, and we want to make sure that we are preparing our students to go over this. So, yeah, any suggestions. But I think over time, you start to see kind of the standards.
One skill, I don't know if it was mentioned, and I don't know if it's even done, and it's time management is a big issue for my son going off to school, and I find this, like, all my children. Time management is not something that gets addressed in the school system. So I think that's something we really work on. Having them understand what time management means, because sometimes they don't understand that at all.
We've been doing study halls for the last kind of year or so, which we should help with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then another is kind of creating a time and a space for students to get through the homework and assignments. All right. Thank you very much.
So there's some housekeeping from your executive. A couple of things. Please don't forget to participate in Family on Campus. Our children need to see us here around in this space. Our annual fundraiser is just around the corner after the holiday season, so make sure that you and your child are signed up for the Tag Day, which will occur in April. Make sure that you've signed your paper and put your email address so that the office continues to have your current correct email information. Also, I was asked to speak to the S3 parents. There will be a meeting on Tuesday, December the 15th, in regards to the career pathways. It will be in the cafetorium. It'll start at 5:30. If you have any questions, you can email Ms. Seymour at dseymour, DSEYMOUR@berkeley.bm to get more information, but there will be a note going home to the S3 parents. The career pathways is where our students get to go out and get practical work experience. So when I went to high school here, we had to spend an afternoon at a different job and get practical experience. So that's another way that we're preparing our students to be successful. So that meeting is for the S3 parents and students on Tuesday, December the 15th. Just very quickly, because we are going to be on time, the end of November, the Acting Commissioner of Education did send home through the school a letter in regards to some legal action which was occurring from the BPTSA. I did want to mention this evening that the Berkeley Institute PTSA is not a member of the BPTSA at this time, but we are keeping a close eye on the legal action that's happening. If you have any questions or comments or concerns in regards to the legal action, you can bring them to the executive. We may not have the answer right then and there, but we will definitely make sure that we get any answers that you require to you. As we're needed schools, some of the things that the BPTSA are dealing with do not actually have anything to do with us, but we are a public school, so we should stay informed. We'll now have a quick report from our principal.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I will try to be brief. We're very appreciative of the work of the Berkeley Educational Society and our Board of Governors. You could not want a more caring and invested group of people to provide oversight to this historic institution. Their work is vitally important, and I appreciate the amount of support that I get as principal of this school. Mr. Bridgewater mentioned a number of the programs that we initiated in the last, since I came last year. And one other part of my job that I think is vitally important is to try to get our students in a place where they're motivated to achieve, so that they can take advantage of all the wonderful things that we have to offer. I'm pleased to tell you, and many of you already know this, that we had an outstanding first term in terms of our honor roll statistics. We had 430 students out of 689 who were on honor roll. Yes, very good. S1, 47%. Now, that's the lowest percentage, but keep in mind that S1 students are just getting here. There's some transitional issues that they will face, and historically, their percentages is kind of the lowest because they are going through that transition. So 47% is not bad to start. S2, 64%, S3, 66%, and drum roll, S4, 81.37%. And I think it's important for you to know that we had 338 male students, 351 female students. For the honor roll for the S4 class, we had 49 males on honor roll and 56 females. That proportion is great considering the numbers of males and females on campus, so we're very proud about that. We had great honor roll assemblies, so I hope that many of you were in attendance. We also had an excellent prize giving. And I hope that many of you were able to attend Peter Pan, which was a rousing success. We had sold-out performances. We have an arts department that I think is unparalleled on the island. They work together with such collaboration and synergy. The productions are wonderful. They have a way of bringing the best out of our students, I think, to perform in ways that the students themselves initially don't realize that they can do. I was so pleased this time to see that we had a live orchestra accompaniment for Peter Pan. And my hat is off to Ms. Carlington because she had the students playing throughout the play in times when you normally would have a track. So that is no easy feat, and we're really proud of what our arts department has accomplished. In addition, we've had some excellent press lately. I hope you've kept track in Burn News and World Set on prize giving, on Peter Pan, on the honor roll certificates. We had an article on Pathways to Success at the school. Tomorrow I will have the principal's honor roll luncheon And I talked about the honor roll statistics. Last year, I had 69 students on principal's honor roll for the first term. This year, I have 117. So, you know, it is the first term, and we don't know what the second term will bring exactly, although I expect some good things. So, but I think this is an important moment to celebrate. And so we will be having a special luncheon for them in the cafeteria, so, because actually we've outgrown our normal space for that activity. That's a good problem to have, and we're really looking forward to that luncheon. I want to also mention that we're at the midterm point for the second term, second quarter, can you believe it? And at this point, we're looking at failing students on the other side of things. And I've counted just about 240 students with a fail in at least one class. However, there's something interesting that's going on this time. There were about 166 of those students whose failing grades are between 50 and 59. That means that failure is kind of at a higher level than it has been in the past. I don't remember seeing that before. That also means that correcting that problem is a quicker fix. It probably is not a learning problem per se. When I look at students' grades, when they have that kind of grade range, it's usually that they're missing assignments or they need to make up something. That's a good problem for us to have. That means that our students who have more chronic problems, that percentage is much lower than it has been. This week, we're going to be holding academic interventions, and we're going to be targeting those students that we believe have more chronic problems so that we can help parents to help us to assist their children and also to make the tutorial attendance mandatory for that particular week. We will also be working with the other children, 50 to 59 as well, but we feel that we can do that with one-on-one contact with both the parents and the children and the teachers to help them to complete whatever needs to be completed. And we will be giving them a deadline of next week to make sure that unfinished work is in so that we can impact that 166. And so the academic interventions will be held on December 9th and December 10th from 5:30 to 7. We'll be sending out invitations to those who need to attend those. I want to make you aware that we're doing something new and different, another new and different thing. On Monday, December 14th at 7 a.m., we will be hosting our first interfaith devotion, interfaith devotional breakfast here in the library. The idea for this activity came from faculty members who came together with students to plan this very special event. I hope that you come and attend, and as I said, it will be at 7 a.m. on Monday in the library. They do need an RSVP, so you can contact me if you are able to attend. And they need that count so that they can have enough for breakfast. I want to mention that while it is true that we have work to do in terms of bolstering students' interview skills and the timeliness of their college applications, that a lot of work, a lot of good work is happening to improve those things. The Student Services Department held a few sessions on interview skills that really targeted students who were applying for the Rotary International Exchange Program. I'm very pleased to say that one of our students scored the highest marks in that interview process of any student on the island and was successful in achieving that award, and that her name is Mia Daly. Students also had the opportunity last week to attend university fairs and at Cedarbridge. And these were attended by numerous reps from a variety of colleges. They also met here on the Tuesday before, so they could have one-on-one interviews with some of our students. They were very impressed with our students because our students were prepared. Our Student Services Department made sure that our students had thought about the kinds of questions that they needed to ask university reps. They had to come up with 5 questions, if not they couldn't go. And so when they got to Cedarbridge, they were ready, and the college reps were very impressed with the way that our students handled themselves and the kinds of things that they wanted to know. So we are really moving forward in all of these things. I had a lovely visit last week, Thursday, from our former premier, Alex Scott, and he came by to bring a donation. He had, for his 75th birthday, the 75th, he had asked for, 75th birthday, he had asked for, instead of in lieu of gifts, donations to the Berkeley Institute. So we've been receiving checks here and there in donation, and he came by specifically to bring a check in the amount of $100 for the Berkeley Educational Society and $200 for the PTSA. So I have that to give to you. I also want to mention that the time management issue that you raised is very important. And we are attempting to address it for the lower school with the whole study hall concept to help get them on track to understand what it means to get homework done, to prepare assignments ahead of time. It's very important also at home if you can reinforce these things that students have to set up for themselves a plan to get their work done. Students who are in the advanced programming courses, like the AP courses, really need to find their time to make sure that they can get their assignments done. AP courses are rigorous courses. They're no walk in the park. So anybody who's doing AP English Literature, AP English Language, Biology, French, calculus, they really have to set aside time to get work done and to study. We also have additional opportunities for them to meet with their teachers when they're here at school through study hall assignments. So these are things that they really need to take advantage of. I'm particularly mindful of this issue for dual enrollment students. And in my past role in colleges, I've worked a lot with first-year experience programs and making sure that students know what to expect in that transition. I talked about the transition from from middle school to S1. There's a transition, as most of you well know, moving from high school into college. And we need to make sure that our students are well equipped for that. That includes understanding that you have to be independent. Nobody's going to come after you to ask you for your assignments. You have to manage your time. And there are ways that we can instruct our students. I've actually volunteered with Community College to create something for that, for our students here at the Berkeley Institute, so that we can, maintain contact with them and monitor any issues or problems that they encounter. So everything that we can do to make sure that they're successful, we will do. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
I have a quick question. Do we keep track of the correlation between student performance and their performance in these domestic and international standardized tests?
Between the domestic and international standards?
Well, their performance in school, their performance here, and how they perform in the standardized tests.
Well, I think it depends on which ones you're talking about. A lot of what we're doing is new. So the short answer is yes, we will. We haven't in the past. We definitely will be looking at correlation between GPA achievement and achievement on external exams. GPA actually is a very weak indicator of accomplishment, and the reason for that is because GPA grades are somewhat arbitrary. So unless we can really put together a program where we use rubrics, so we can develop a more standardized approach to grading, using GPA to compare that issue is a bit difficult. Other markers that we can use include things like the checkpoint scores that they do in middle school. We can use things like the results on their IGCSE exams, because that is an external and standardized and normative kind of test. We can use those to compare with their achievement on an advanced programming. But yes, it's in mind to do that.
Actually, what I'm trying to get at is if my son or daughter is a C student, would that be an indicator to me as to how I can expect that they will be performing in the IGCSE exam or the SAT or any of these other things?
As I said, GPA is a weak indicator, so I would have to say kind of not necessarily. Because you may have a student who earns a C in a particular class, but who is determined and studies very hard for a particular exam and does better than you might have expected on the basis of that GPA. I prefer to look at other indicators to make that kind of correlation. And as you know, I mean, GPA, your grades really depend on, for the most part, on who the teacher is, what the student does, and it can be a little arbitrary, subjective. Subjective. Does that help? Other questions? Thank you very much. Rusticate the room.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'll open the floor for any other further questions, comments, or concerns. Okay. So please remember to tell everyone that was unable to attend this evening that the video will be on the PTSA YouTube page, Berkeley Institute PTSA, for the next 2 weeks, but it will be unlisted, so they will only be able to get it through the link that will be sent within the next 48 hours via email. Subscribe to the YouTube page, because then you will in future be kept up to date. Let's see, on December the 21st, the video will be made public, so it'll be on www.berkeleybda.com. A link will be on the Berkeley Institute Facebook, PTSA Facebook page, as well as public on our YouTube page. So we're really trying to reach out to parents and students through social media. So if you're not familiar with YouTube or you don't use Facebook, chances are your children do. So get them to help you navigate the YouTube page and how to subscribe and leave a comment, etc. And if you have any other suggestions about how to reach the parents, please don't hesitate to send an email. Our email is berkeleyinstituteptsa@gmail.com. Your support is greatly appreciated. I see the same faces each month. And if maybe in the new year you could bring someone else with you that doesn't normally come, that would be fantastic. So thank you so much for your attendance. Yes, we have...
Ms. Maria, can I just take the opportunity to inform parents about the course selection process for the year 2016-17, which is about to take place. This week coming up in assemblies with the S1s, 2s, and 3s, we'll be going in, myself and Mr. Burgess, making presentations to the students along with their advisors. The following week they'll be making the selections in their advisory groups, and that will also be followed with individual meetings with their counselors to do a sort of a second checking process. So back on the week of November 23rd, we had asked teachers to just have a discussion with students in their classes about what the next level would look like. So if a student is in your Math 2 class, next year possibly they'll be doing integrated math or English or French, just having teachers to have those basic discussions with students. So the presentations and assembly start tomorrow, and the actual selection, online selection process will take place the following week. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
We're also going to update the course description booklet and upload it on the website. So we're hoping that can be done this week so that if parents need to access it, they can. And another thing Ms. Robinson mentioned, to remind parents to, when you're signing, to also inform your students about the grub day for tomorrow.
Okay, so I guess there'll be a grub day tomorrow. So make sure that your children are aware of that. Is there anything else we need to share? Yes, Mr. Burgess.
I just wanted to add that the course selection appointments are done with parents as well. So parents can actually start making appointments with the student services receptionists to come along to those course selection appointments.
Okay, great. That's what I just understood. Yes, you contact student services, the receptionist, and make an appointment for you and your child. Yes?
Starting Thursday.
Starting Thursday of this week.
I have a small comment. There appears to be a lot of good things happening at market, and we need buy-in. And I'm suggesting to the principal and faculty, this community, along with Joe, in terms of the number very much encouraged. I just, as a male figure, no disrespect to the ladies, I think our boys are getting, our young men are getting extremely well, and parents, and especially fathers. Let's pursue all this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do know that over the past week or so, or a couple of weeks, the Berkeley Institute has been in the Royal Gazette Online and on Burn News quite a bit. So we are starting to get out there. But if any of you have any suggestions or want to support the PTA by getting some more good news out there, don't hesitate to contact the executive. We can forward you the information. You can get it in the BIU newsletter or your jobs newsletter or wherever you feel at your church to get that information out there that the Berkeley Institute is doing wonderful things for our students as well as our young men. Definitely. So if there's nothing else, thank you very much for your time this evening. Have a safe and peaceful holiday, and we look forward to seeing you and a friend in the new year. Thank you.